Question: how does one respond to all the anti-Israel protests that are going on in the world today? First of all, the more one knows about Israel and history of Israel, the better they are able to respond to people who make claims against Israel. So obviously the first thing is for someone to educate themselves. As the saying goes, if you read 10 books on a subject, you'll start to know a little something about the subject. So I recommend people read as many books as they can about Israel, Palestine before it became Israel, etc. And that'll help them be able to respond intelligently. One book I might recommend is Menachem Begin's book, The Revolt, which you can buy a copy of inexpensively, probably on the bookseller sites. And that tells you the story of the Jewish underground movement for independence in Palestine in the 1940s, and even before, perhaps in the 30s too. So it's important to know how to respond. People are saying crazy things about Israel, not only now, but especially now. And the better you can respond, the more people that can respond intelligently, the better. Even if it's, everyone has to find their own place where it's good, the local place, if there's something going on near them. Whoever they might respond, either online or in person. I know in my family, I was told that in World War II, before World War II in New York, there were a lot of people who were German sympathizers who were pro-Nazi. Even in America, it's well known. And they would have rallies and they would say things, pro-Nazi things and anti-Jewish things, etc. in America. And some members of my family would go and refute them and go and argue with them. And I was very impressed by that. And I think it's a similar thing. It's a challenge for us to do this today when people are saying anti-Israel things. So I just want to make one or two points to give you a line of thought to start on. And as I said, I encourage you to take it from there. So one of the main underlying themes that you hear in a lot of the anti-Israel protests is that somehow Israel is oppressing the Arabs within Israel, who some of them call themselves Palestinians. The claim is that Israel is somehow oppressing them. Okay, so I think the important thing to say here is, and you can just ask people when they say things like that, say, well, in what way is Israel oppressing them? And see if you get any reasonable answers, because Israel is not oppressing any of the Arabs within Israel, whether it's the pre-1967 borders or the post-1967 borders. No one is being oppressed. I think a lot of the people who say things like that, what they mean is that they're oppressed by the fact that they don't have control of Israel. That's oppressive to them, that they do not control the land of Israel. That the land of Israel exists as a Jewish state is oppressive to them emotionally, psychologically. That's what they mean when they say they're oppressed. Another thing is, now we're having the war in Gaza. It's important to know the basic history of how Gaza came to be. Gaza was already a city before, a smaller city, before the founding of the State of Israel. By the time of the founding of the State of Israel, when a lot of neighboring Arab countries encouraged the Arabs of Palestine to flee so they could wage war against the Jews and they could come back, so many of them fled and ended up in Gaza. And they stayed there because the neighboring countries, the Arab countries, particularly Egypt, as well as Jordan and Syria and Saudi Arabia, they did not want to take them in, because they wanted to be a problem. They said, the Palestinian refugee problem is a problem. So they didn't want to solve the problem. Like letting the refugees actually come to their country would solve the problem, but they didn't want to solve the problem. They wanted to maintain the problem. And that's what's happened until today. And it's not Israel's fault. Israel did not encourage Arabs to flee. The Arab nations surrounding encouraged them to flee. Israel told the Arabs living in Palestine, when the state was declared, that they can stay and become citizens, which many of them did. But those who fled ended up in places like Gaza, or if they managed to get to other countries, they may have got to other countries, but many of them ended up in Gaza and other places, and now they're feeling oppressed because they wish that Palestine was an Arab state. That was the whole point of the Arab opposition to the Zionist state. He said Palestine is Arab. That didn't mean that there was ever an Arab country there before. There wasn't an Arab country there before, but there were Arabs who lived there, and there were Arabs living in the neighboring countries, and therefore Palestine, they wanted to be Arab, whether it's under Jordanian control, Egyptian control, or Syrian control, but they wanted to be Arab. That was the point. It wasn't that they had their own state here before, but they wanted just to be an Arab state or part of an Arab state. And since it's not part of an Arab state now, that's oppressive to them. Yeah, okay, that's enough for now. That's a good start. But as I said, anyone who wants to be able to refute things, they should read as much as they can. You don't have to be an expert. Whatever you know, you know. And a good way, like I said, is just to challenge statements that other people make. Challenge them. Now, I have one more point. I'm sorry, one more point I want to make to understand a little bit also what's going on in Israel. So there's two types of Arabs in Israel. There's ones who are citizens and ones who are not citizens. And the ones who are citizens are the ones that are living in the places that from 1948 where they became citizens. And the places that are not citizens is after 1967 in Yehudim Shomron and in Gaza and other places which were taken over. So taken over then, and then Israel withdrew from Gaza and starting in 1994. But in those places, they did not make them citizens. They're simply residents of the territories. So this is a challenge to try to maintain the civil rights of those people, which Israel tries to do. In my opinion, a great mistake was made in 1994, 30 years ago, with the Oslo Accords. What was the point of the Oslo Accords? People like Shimon Peres, who was then the foreign minister and then the prime minister, he said, yes, it's true. You can read in his book called The New Middle East, which he wrote about this in 92 or 93. He said, it's true that Israel did not create this problem. The Arabs created this problem. But still, maybe we could do something about it. So his approach to do something about it was to create this Palestinian Authority and give them control over these areas. Now, in my opinion, this did not solve anything. It made things worse, because until today you have this Palestinian Authority ruling in these areas, and instead of having Israel maintains overall security control, meaning that the army goes in when necessary, but they have their own police forces there, the Palestinian Authority, and Israel is not really controlling what's going on there. And there's a lot of corruption, which the Arabs are not happy about, and so instead of the Palestinian Authority, they're going to vote for Hamas and other groups, more fundamentalist religious Muslim groups, and it just makes chaos. So, in my opinion, this is part of the problem, not the solution. The solution is to make clear to everyone, the Jews and Arabs living in all parts of Eretz Israel, the land of Israel, that this is going to be under Israeli sovereignty and only Israeli sovereignty. And you're welcome to live here with full civil rights, just like a Jew lives in America with full civil rights. And I lived in America as a Jew for many years, and I was very happy to be there. The point is that America is not a Jewish country, but you have full civil rights, and that's fine. Any Arab that wants to live in Israel as a Jewish country, not as an Arab country, but as a Jewish country with full civil rights, is very welcome. And I think we have to make that clear, that and even could be citizens, if on an but not giving everyone citizenship just because they're Arab, but on an individual basis, judging on their behavior, judging on their character and their history of behavior. If a person is a loyal citizen, loyal to the country, then he becomes a citizen. And if he's not, then not. You just be a resident and not vote, but still be able to work and do the things. This issue with passports, because if they're not citizens, then they can't have a passport, they can't come to the airport and fly other countries, so they generally go out through Jordan or whatnot, and like they used to before the 67 war. So that's the issue, how to deal with that. But again, everything can be solved as long. The only question is who is willing to be a non-belligerent resident or citizen, and then if they are, then certainly they can have all full civil rights, and we could solve all the travel issues and everything like that. So, okay, thank you for listening, and keep your prayers. We need we need your prayers. Our soldiers need your prayers, and our people need your prayers, and we need our prayers for ourselves. So, thank you, and good luck.